Hello, today we're going to show you how to record a live video conference. Of all the online recording software tools available, or software that you can download, we found the best one of all the different brands is the OBS software suite. Some of the reasons that the OBS software is better than the others is your ability to control cost. It's free to use. That's a big plus. Second, OBS allows you to control where your meeting is stored. So after you've recorded your live video call, you can choose your own hard drive to save it rather than some cloud on a stranger's device. Third, it has greater security control because of your ability to control where your content is stored. And finally, when you do download the final recording of the live video call, you can then have the ability to edit it with the software suite that you choose rather than somebody else's. To get started with the OBS software, your first step is to actually download the software from their website. As we have posted here, you can go to their website and actually download the OBS software. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, the very first step in getting this OBS Studio installed for recording your video conference is to determine your OS or operating system. You can either have Windows, Mac, or Linux. We happen to be running Windows, so we're going to go ahead and begin the installation process. We'll just click on Windows, and then that'll open up the download screen. And as you can see, it's downloading the OBS Studio software for our desktop. Once that's complete, we'll move on to stage 2. All right, now we're entering stage 2, which is the installation process of OBS onto our desktop. So in a Chrome browser, the downloads usually appear down in the lower left-hand corner. We're going to go in there, we're going to click on Open, and it's going to ask us a few questions to get the installation set up on our computer. So one of the first questions is going to be allowing OBS to actually use the access to the computer. We're going to say yes and next. We're going to be allowing it the license agreement. We're going to agree. This is OBS Open Studios. It is free, so we'll go ahead and do that. And the very last, we can choose where we want to install OBS. I happen to leave it on the default installation directory. It's up to you. You can use your own directory if you wish, but for this purpose, we're just going to keep it on the same directory that they choose. So I'm going to go ahead and click on install, and it's going to go through that process. And then next, we're going to take a look at stage 3, which is the settings of the OBS. All right, the first stage in the settings actually begins at the end of the installation process onto your desktop. It's going to ask us to launch OBS, and we're going to say finish and yes. And there should be a question that appears that'll ask you how you want to use OBS, whether you want to use it as a streaming or recording software. We are going to pick option 2, optimize for just recording. So let's go ahead and click on that. Click on next. And then it's going to find your default screen settings. We're going to go ahead and accept those. Click next. And then it's going to give us the hardware and the status of our computer. So we're going to go ahead and apply those. There's a disclaimer here for Windows. We're just going to go ahead and close that part of it. And now we are in the actual OBS system, and we can continue on with the settings. When you look at this, when the OBS first opens up, there's a blank area. The canvas area is blank. And we're going to start implementing different devices on our local desktop to actually record the video conference. So where we add devices is down here in Sources. If you go down into Sources here, and you will see a little plus sign, we're going to click on that, and it'll bring up all the different applications or devices that we can use for our recordings. One area when you are doing a recording may be your default display or capture. That's up to you as an individual if you want to use the display. Just a word of caution, when you use the display, it captures absolutely everything. Your entire screen is captured on the display capture. So that means if you have other files and folders on there in that recording and you don't get a chance to edit the recording, you might inadvertently have that material recorded. So what we're going to try to do is Windows Capture. This is the one that's preferred. I already have a browser open. It's the same Chrome browser that we use to download the OBS. You want to make sure whatever window you have is open so that way OBS can capture it. So we're going to go ahead and click on Windows Capture. It's going to ask you to create new. You can name it. We're just going to leave it as default. We're going to click OK. And here we can see the settings for our Windows Capture. As you'll notice here, if I minimize this, it's actually capturing here our original download screen for OBS. But what we're going to focus on is ESDN. This is the ideal place to do a video conference, is the ideal place that we're going to use for our recordings today. So if I go back to the OBS down in the lower screen, you can see we already have the ESDN video recording set up and ready to go. So in here, it's going to say that it's Chrome. If I had a different window open, it would check that. I'm going to allow for the capture of my cursor and the client area. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And now you can see on the canvas, the area is captured where we're going to have our video call. Now there's two other items you're going to want to add for any video call. We have the visual aspect of the video call, but there are two parts of the audio input and audio output. So we're going to go back down to sources. I'm going to click on the plus and I'm going to add my audio input. And that's important because the audio input is going to be what we're going to use for us, the speaker in the video conference. And the default one is fine, but I'm just going to make sure, and it's the high definition microphone. So I select that and I'm going to click OK. You may have multiple microphones hooked up to your device. You want to pick the one that you want to record from. And as soon as you do that in the audio mixer, you can see that it's already added that, and you can make the adjustments here on the sound level. It was getting a little red, so I wanted to make sure that the sound was a little more fluid. Next, we're going to go back down to the plus and the sources, and we're going to add the audio output. So the members of the video call who are actually calling in and talking, we want to capture their audio as well. So we're going to go in here to audio output capture. We're going to add that. It's going to say create a new one. We're saying yes. We're going to click OK. And then the default is going to be the speakers on the device that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure it's got those speakers, and I'm going to click OK. So there's three areas of a video call that you want to make sure you're recording. The visuals, which we started out with here, which is the Windows capture, your audio input and audio output. Now, once all those settings are complete, you can then go over into the area here on the very far right, which is the controls. And before you actually start recording, we're going to go down into the settings here because we're going to change the directory and where we're recording the videos. So I'm going to click on that in the settings, and that's going to bring up the settings area of the OBS. General is fine. Stream we're not doing. So output is where we're going to actually store the video. They have a recording path that they're going to default and dump the video recording. I want to just give you a word of caution. Sometimes you can get lost and say, well, where do those recordings go? So that's why I recommend changing the setting. We're going to go to Browse. I'm going to go to my desktop, and I've already taken the liberty to create a folder for recorded videos. I'm going to select that. You want to create a folder where you will remember where these recordings are going to be stored. Once you've got that in there, I think the rest of the audio is fine. The video is fine in there. Accessibility, general. So everything, it should be pretty much set up the way that you would want. You can make additional adjustments if you choose. That's entirely up to you. I'm going to leave the default, and the default should be all pretty standard. One other area is the recording format. Not only do you want to choose the folder, but the recording format, I'm going to say MP4. That's one that I like to recommend. Now remember, it's going to be unable to fix it if there's a problem, but MP4 makes the recording usable almost immediately. So let's go ahead and click that. I'm going to click apply, and I'm going to click OK. I've got everything set up. All I have to do is hit start recording. I'm going to do that right now. It's now actually recording. I'm going to minimize the OBS Studios, and I'm going to start my video call. And we'll just call it test here for the time being. And we have engaged in recording our video call. Here it is. We've got a actual recording of our live video conference. And if you have ever wanted, at the very bottom of your tool menu there, you should see the OBS menu that it is actually recording your video live. So enjoy. This is the best resource for recording live video conferences, whether you're using it for depositions, whether you're using the video for training, or whether you're using it for education. This is the best way to record a live video conference. Thank you very much.